Hi, my name is Violet Valentine. I'm making 2008 style video blogs, mostly info dumping about my movie. It's an indie movie in progress. I've been working on this movie for a couple years. It is a couple weeks or months from being done, depending on how things go. And hopefully this year in theaters, if all goes well. Before I get to my movie stuff, I wanted to mention one that I have been getting more and more viewers from week to week. Not a lot in the grand scheme of what the internet numbers mean, but 400 views on my last video felt pretty good. If you like my videos or just want to interact and be nice and polite, feel free to comment. I really enjoy. It feels less like I'm sitting alone in my room at 3 in the morning talking to a webcam and more, which would be insane. Is exactly what I'm doing right now. But if you leave comments, it makes me feel less insane. It's actually really nice of you to indulge my mental illness. That is video blogging, the cool mental illness. I had a cool night tonight. The star of my movie, Sasha Forrest, was performing Shakespeare. They did A Midsummer Night's Dream, which, as a gender fae, having never seen, shameful. But it was a great performance. It's hard to impress me with Shakespeare, to be honest, at this point in my life. But I will say that the actors all kicked ass. Like, there was some really great performance. And Sasha, like, who I was there to see, as soon as she entered, she played Helena. She just, such a delight to see someone that I really admire as an actor just crush a Shakespeare performance. No big deal. And then we did karaoke. It was a great night. Oh, but the funny thing about that is I was in the front row, and there were these two British guys next to me. And I've never seen people enjoy a play so much. Like, the actors would be like, they'd say some fairy shit like, but you are not supposed to fall in love with me. And they would always go like, oh, they like reacted to every line like, uh-oh, this fairy's mad. They were like watching the Jerry Springer show. I've never seen people just enjoy Shakespeare. It must have been their favorite play. Like, it was like a goddamn delight. Like 1% annoying, but 99% just like you are into fucking fairies and shit. Right on, dog. The other funny story I had recently is I have a friend who is sort of in a different tribe of trans people. Something I noticed very quickly in LA transitioning, just reporting my life experience, is that if I'm like at a party or a club and like any Latin woman sees me, they will fucking stare me down. Like sneer, look like hatefully, like just like the vitriol I've always received from that community just by virtue of like being what I am. It was a very noticeable part of transition in LA that there's a lot of things you don't expect when you transition. You find out the type of person who's attracted to you, which is a little humbling sometimes, what I have signaled into the world. But one thing that I did not notice is that but I have one friend, she's like really tight with my girlfriend, who's from that world. And, I got to do her shot. I really love doing people's shots. And it's really funny when you like have that moment with someone from maybe another tribe, and I'm kind of like bracing for like, oh no, here we go. And like, then one of you starts talking about like progesterone dosing or like internet pills to get bigger butts. And it is amazing how no matter how very different you find our community as soon as you're talking about progesterone. If you ever like meet a trans woman who's like a very different type of person than you, bring the conversation as fast as you can to like hormone treatment, and suddenly like your sister is like, it was pretty cool. I actually asked her, I'm like, hey, like, since we're getting along, can I talk to you about why like I've noticed that all Latin women in LA like hate me on sight? And she fell over laughing. It's like, white girl, you're a white girl. That's all it is. They hate me. like as if like, and I only like 90% know what that means. I'm nodding like, ah, yes, white girl. But I'm like, I don't 100% get what you're saying, although I get what you're saying. So that has been what I've been, and I got to do her shot, and it always feels good to do. It was really funny too because she was a straight girl. She never met lesbians before. She didn't even know trans women could be lesbians. So very recently in her life, she met her first lesbian, and she was like actively weirded out by it. And she was just, she lives in my girlfriend's building. She was just sort of like hanging out. We were doing her shot and like talking about medical stuff and like kind of having a vibe and just hanging out. And at the end of us hanging out after like an hour, she had to go on a date with a guy, and she was just like, you know, this whole time I was afraid like you were like gonna like do lesbian stuff to me, like because you were lesbians, you would just like hold me down and force me to do lesbian things. I was like nervous the whole time, and I'm like, that's it's adorable. I'm like, were we supposed to? Like, is that like if that's, I mean, we could do that, I guess. Like, I'm not like, why you bring it up as really? It was just very funny. She's just like, to meet someone from such a different world who like, the weirdest thing about me is that I'm a lesbian is like, that's adorable. But to get to my movie stuff, my hilarious antics aside, and like silly land that is my life, I wanted to talk today about all the things people told me not to do when I first started making my movie and how they were all wrong and I never should have trusted them. When I first started making my movie, I never made a movie before. And I wrote my script, and my wife like knew someone who said they were a producer, like everyone says they're a producer, who like referred me to someone who consults on scripts. I paid them like $80 for an hour of their time. They were supposed to read my script, have an hour-long Zoom, and be real with me. And I remember when the Zoom started, they were like, your script was only 72 pages. I won't read a script that's less than 90 minutes. A good script is 90 minutes. You're not professional. And I was like, you know, like if you'd read it, you'd see that like it's a 2.5 hour movie. Like this, like it's like there's a lot of stuff in there. There's like I don't want to get into like there's like an improvised scene, and in one line in the thing like improvise this scene. There's a one scene that's like reenact a scene from another movie. Like these things that are one line should be 7. Like it was just it's a stupid, insane thing, and like everyone, I remember became a running gag. Every time I'd send someone my script, their first piece of feedback would be like, I saw the page limit. I read one thing about screenwriting once, which is all it is. People hear these like rules and now they're an expert. And they're just like, it's got to be 90 pages or people won't take you seriously, blah, 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 blah. And it got to the point that the first page of my script is like half a page of saying, this is longer than it looks. There are scenes like explaining myself so that like, I had to like defend that, and it was so annoying. When my movie was done, we shot, like the first cut of my movie was like 3 hours long, and it was a 52-page script, a 50-page script, something in that range. And like I always knew it was, because when you're writing things, I don't know, it's not like a fucking pilot for a sitcom. It's like an art film that's trying to do a lot of unique things. There's going to be a different structure to it. And that, it sounds like I'm harping on it a lot, but like it was hard to be taken seriously when I was trying to get something made that I knew was good because of the page limit. It was so fucking irritating. And part of me believed that. Worse than that is my original script too had a lot more. Everyone who read it was like, you're directing on the page. It makes you seem like a bad writer. Like this is like not like the point of the screenwriter. They've all learned these like lessons and like these like rules of thumb from working in working in Hollywood or like fantasizing that they do. But so I was discouraged away from like writing what songs should go in what scenes. But then I shoot the scene and I'm done, and I'm like, it's so much harder to like shoot something and then just like try to guess what goes in than to just have a vision and like create it. Like, and it's insane. I feel like really annoyed that every single person I talked to who read my script like greatly encouraged me not to direct on the page. And if I had directed on the page, my post would be like so much more organic. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Like you get there. It's just a much more annoying process. And there's something beautiful about the scenes that I did have like clear music visions. You know, you have a vision, then you shoot it, it's done. Whereas the process of shooting something and try a bunch of stuff to see what works is a lot less like clear. Like it's not like first one I had an objective, I achieved it. This one you're always jiggling, you're always tweaking, and the tweak process, you know, can be very humbling. Like just dumping in different song after different song into a scene, and sometimes you're like, ah, yes, but sometimes you're like, fuck, I've gone through like, you know, my entire music catalog. Anyway, having more of a vision, and ultimately though, the larger takeaway was that everyone who told me anything was wrong. Like, because unless you have made a movie, I shouldn't be taking advice from you. Part of the reason my editing is going slow, which I don't like to say because it's sad, is that the person I originally had to edit it, who I've been working with since I was 19 years old, and who gets me, you know, and I get them, and we have our own language, passed away from COVID in the process of making the movie, um, which has been, you know, very sad, and I won't get into that. But speaking strictly logistically to move forward with the topic, it has been, they were irreplaceable. I didn't realize. I've always suffered from the fact that I had amazingly talented people around me in college who were just down to work. I thought that would just be how things work for the rest of your life. Making movies is like starting a band. You find three people who love making music and you do it. And like, if something comes of it, cool. If not, you're living your life like creating like something beautiful with people you love. But that's not how it is. No one sees movie making that way, and it's annoying. And I don't understand why they're not. And if I get any clout or any success in film, like I desperately want to start encouraging people to make films. Although, like, people who are going to make films are going to make films. I have tried to encourage people, and you know, you can't like yell at someone into making Magnolia. You know what I mean? You can't scold someone. You got it. You have to want it. Like through this whole process, time and time again, I've come into difficult situations where what I had to do to make the movie was something that I didn't want to do. Something dealing with people that maybe like, you know what I mean? I won't give specific examples, but like you kind of got to suck a lot of dicks to make a movie. Like you have to gamble, you have to do a lot of things. Like I have to play poker, I have to beg. There's a lot of things that suck about it, and like whenever I have that moment where I get annoyed with it, I just ask myself, how bad do you want it? It's simple. It's like capitalist. It's like, do you want it bad enough? Yes, you do. Then do the thing. Like, do it good. Like, go fucking do what you gotta do to make it real. And I did, and I'm glad about that. But I've said it before, but like I was spoiled by having people who were talented in college. And now when I meet someone, I am like, hey, do you want to just do creative stuff? Just want to make a movie where we just try crazy shit? I used to know 10 people that if you said that, they'd be like, oh, there's this like new trick I've been learning in After Effects. I've been trying to use it on a project. Like maybe we could stick it in here. Or like, oh, there's this like music video I just saw with this like crazy camera move. Like it'd be interesting to like apply that. You know what I mean? Like there was always, but now every editor I've talked to, I'm like, I sit them down and I'm like, hey, I like movies that are crazy and visual and beautiful. I like Harmony Korine stuff. I give them some examples. I cut a reel to show them like the kind of like Scott Pilgrim-y, interesting editing and like After Effects and like transitions and split screens and noir, all this cool stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like can we do something like that? And every single one of them is just like, I'm not right for this. I just make things shorter. Like you can just edit movies and get paid money to shorten things. And like, if people want special effects, they want me to come up with every idea. They're like, well, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, well, like if I knew a crazy shit, then I wouldn't need to hire someone. I would just do the crazy shit. I'm trying to hire someone to be creative, which I guess you can't really do, which doesn't seem right to me. It really doesn't. Yet here I am, running out of names. You know, a lot of people would have worked who just happen to be booked too. That's the other thing. But that's what I've been up to, and that's where but like that's why I really from now on want to direct on the page. I think going into things with the soundtrack figured out, the style you're going to edit it in, like be like it is exactly like in my original edit. I'd be like, this scene is like this particular scene from this particular art film that had one weird like visual and editing trick. Like I'd be like, this is shot like a Roy Andersson movie. We put it on a tripod. We get a giant wide angle, super expensive lens. We get an epic forced perspective area. And then we shoot it like a Roy Andersson long one shot like a play with a visual gag. That shit on the page, people be like, no one will ever read this or make this. And it's like, you know what? Nobody has to read it because I'm making it myself. And two, somebody did make my last movie, me, and it fucking rocks. So like, just give me the benefit of the doubt. If I write something down that's a creative visual idea, just give me the benefit of the doubt that maybe that's cool. There's movies that have those things in them. I'm not the only one doing things that aren't just like dialogue and actions. I see a lot of movies. I wonder what the script for like TV Glow looked like. That had to be the weirdest script. I digress. Anyway, sorry to go on. This is much longer than I meant to. I'm probably boring in some places. So if not. But also, again, once again, I had more followers than I've ever had. If you want to leave a comment, I super duper enjoy engaging with people. Just in general, be nice. Obviously, like, let's talk about movies. Let's talk about YouTube shit. Let's like do the old 2008. Big up.